Hi, this is my second time trying to film this video. The first time got into like 15 minutes and went to watch it back and realized it didn't pick up any of I couldn't hear myself. Anyways, thanks for watch. Thanks for viewing this video. My name's Megan. I This video is what I want to talk about, things I wish I was told when I was going through my divorce and dealing with therapy and a Christian therapist. Um, I like to start out by saying not all Christian therapists are bad, that there are a lot of good ones out there. And the way I'm looking at it with this therapist was that she may work for some people, but she didn't work for me. And you know what? That is okay. And a Christian therapy might work for some people, but it's not necessarily going to be for everyone. Um, my To kind of start out to give out a quick view of my marriage. When we had separated, my ex-husband was diagnosed with Asperger's, which is considered to be on the autism spectrum, which in hindsight made it made a few things made sense about our relationship and how he handled things. And if I had known prior to getting married, I would have been able to handle things a little bit better. Um, and trying to explain to him things don't have to be his way. How what I want is okay too, what he wants is okay, um but with Asperger's, that they get hyper focused on things. He absolutely loves Harleys, which I think they look pretty cool, but they're not something I want to obsess over. Some people do. But the one thing that made things difficult that he kind of obsessed over was watching adult videos. And I may put in the description section what I mean by that, because I don't know if it's how descriptive I can be about this type of stuff. Um, but he assumed that it was realistic. When honestly it isn't. I've heard stories from some of these actors, if that's what you want to call them, that they are meant to be visually pleasing, but that's it. And people can try to make it work, but for a lot of them, they had to fake their way through the scenes because they weren't necessarily comfortable. Your head at one end and your feet at the other end. Some people can handle that, some people can't. And my ex, while we were together, that's something he assumed. And assumed that I'm gonna orgasm every time and it's gonna be like fireworks, which, well, sometimes, I mean, that's happened a couple of times, but it took me a few years to be able to figure out what's going on with my body. And it wasn't until the last year and a half that I kind of realized, you know what? I'm asexual. I don't necessarily mind sex. I just don't want to do it all the time. But that's a whole nother story in and of itself. Along with my ex-husband, that's another story for another time. But we had separated, found out he had cheated. We separated. I got therapy and was seeing a Christian therapist. And I'm trying to tell her all of these things going on, especially in our sex life, that um, weren't necessarily normal. And granted, I feel like because, and this is kind of backing up a little bit, that because of his Asperger's, he had a hard time holding on to a job. And I'm not trying to badmouth him in any way, but this is putting out, like, I went into this marriage thinking that we'd be a two-income household. And he couldn't hold on to a job. So I went from being his wife to being his mother and having to hold his hand through a lot of things. And then him wanting sex all the time. And it was getting to the point of the only energy I had was I had just enough energy to get up and go to work, be the breadwinner of the family. And yet he wanted sex, he wanted it to be enjoyable by both of us, which it was for the most part, but having these high expectations from him that he's expecting me to make a mess, basically, um, that he got frustrated that, okay, yes, I enjoyed it, but there wasn't this outward orgasm, this orgasm that I had. And I don't think he completely understood that I can enjoy it without that happening. And it got to the point where it's like I don't want to be intimate. I'm more like your mother. I can't do this. And that should have been my first sign of, okay, maybe I need to get some therapy. But once we separated and I'm explaining all of these things to her, and my therapist had told me that sometimes one of you is going to be in the mood and the other one isn't. And the one who isn't needs to put out, I think is the word she used. But I think basically saying, I should be joyfully available. And it's like, I can only do that so much. I can understand in a normal, healthy relationship saying, okay, you know what, I'm not in the mood, but let's try and warm up the engine, so to speak. But it's like we both have the right to say no at any time, even if it's in the middle of being intimate. We can say no at any time. We can ask it to stop. And we both would have the option of having Rosie Palm and her five friends helping. And it's not that I wanted to deny it from him, but at some point, it's like I can only fake it so much. And at that time, like I didn't realize I was ace at the time, but I knew that our what we wanted, the drive we each had were completely opposite of each other. And realizing that um this would have been a deal breaker, I think, if we had known it would be like this. And I can understand for me dating someone and I say I'm ace. I can understand that being a deal breaker. Um, which is why with purity culture, you should consensual consensual sex, enthusiastic consent. That is all important. And after I finally explained to my therapist that it's more than just putting out, there's what I'm coming to find out as a love language. He's not giving me my love language, and I should maybe be trying to give him his love language. I get it, but he doesn't seem to understand. He can only think about himself and his own needs. So we separate, and he moves about 2 hours away to stay with his parents. And he basically is telling me I need to make a decision now, and I need to move up to where he is. Quit my job and move away. And in the last couple months was with some friends. One of them had a similar situation to me, and that her boyfriend was like, "I need you to make a decision now. Let's work it out." And she's like, "It's not that simple. I need a few years." Where I had this epiphany of, "Oh God, yeah, that's what I need. I needed a couple of years to get over this, to heal and say, What do I need from this relationship? Can this relationship be fixed? And if it can't, what can I learn from it?" And that if he wants, and I think the one thing is that if I wish I would have been told, put yourself first. What do you need? Which, is hard when you're in love, but it's like, it's setting up boundaries and having that support system of, you know, if I maybe need to move up there to realize that that wasn't a I crossed a boundary. Maybe that's what I needed to do. I don't know, but it's like I needed a therapist to kind of help slow my thinking down. And if if I'm not going fast enough for my husband, and I'm needing a lot more time than he's willing to wait, then you know what? He can fill out the divorce papers. And that, there is absolutely nothing wrong with, let's just divorce and move on, and we can see how things work out in a couple of years. Is this something we can go back to? There's nothing wrong with that. But I'm going to sit there and say, you couldn't wait for me to make this decision. So, I guess anyone going through this, that has a significant other that has cheated, has done something, gone past your boundaries, and they want to fix it and they want to fix it now, it's completely up to you how you want to go through with it. If you want to, if this is going to take you a couple of years to get over, there is absolutely nothing wrong with that. And if you want to fix it now, that's fine too. So, yeah, that I may have more videos coming out. I may not. I don't know. This was something that I've been putting off for a few months, and I'm hoping that this kind of helps. Thank you for watching.